In a time when the people of the world, desperate and suppressed by the monotony of daily life, needed saving the most, two unlikely heroes emerged. With mics in hand and jokes aplenty, the heroes set out to entertain the world, and a podcast was born. You are now listening to Chopping It Up.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Chopping It Up. We hope you enjoy our new introduction. Jeff put that together. We're going to throw that out there, kind of test the waters, get a little feedback, see if people like that. And we're going to jump right into the World Cup wrap-up. I know we usually do this at the end, but we're going to do it at the beginning because it kind of morphs in with my off-the-cuff for the week. And so jumping right in. First point, shockingly, the French were pretty successful at sitting back and absorbing pressure until they were let off the hook by someone else on their way to victory. Yes, that someone else I'm referring to is the own goal and the VAR, which was a very questionable handball. Second, the Croatian president is still hugging Luka Modric. I mean, that hug seemed to take forever. And then she went back for more. That was kind of an interesting scene. Third, Putin is dry, which is... everyone is happy to hear that. I know we were all worried with that torrential downpour that he would get too wet, his suit would get ruined.
Those umbrellas, that was a fiasco.
You mean that one umbrella?
That one umbrella. The fact that 8 more umbrellas came out and not a single one went to the Croatian president, the only woman on stage.
Oh, she loved it.
Very chivalrous.
She was prepared with the white pants. She was ready.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
She was ready. Congratulations to Mario Mandzukic, who becomes the first person to score for both teams in the final, which is a stat that really is incredible, and I think that will hold up for a while. And the last point is I still can't tell, and this is an honest point, I still can't tell if Antoine Griezmann is good or not. Obviously, he does a lot of, he has the ball a lot, he scores a lot of penalties, he gets the job done, but I really cannot tell if he's a world-class player yet. I know he was the starting forward on the World Cup winning team, so most people out there are like, Frankie, you're an idiot. The guy is a good player, but he holds on to the ball forever. He doesn't ever pass the ball on time. It's just a little annoying to watch Griezmann play. And the last point that I want to make about the World Cup, which, like I said earlier, kind of morphs into this off-the-cuff, is my off-the-cuff for the week is how great sports are.
Oh,
I mean, we're going to sound like sports hardos, I think, for our off-the-cuffs this week.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But it's just, you watch the World Cup, and, you watch other championship games, and the amount of effort that these guys put in to this game, it's just unbelievable. You get the end of the game. I've never seen a team run so hard and press so high up the field as Croatia did for that second half, clearly just going for it all. Many of them realizing they'll never get to the World Cup final again. This is their chance. And those guys left it all out on the field. And then you see the French players, crying tears of joy. And you kind of it makes you just sit there for a second and say, sports are just this great thing.
And that's just the thing. It's really cool to think that, most of these guys, especially in the case of the World Cup, it's very difficult to make a World Cup final. It only happens once every 4 years. Most countries never, ever make the final. And to think that these guys train their entire lives for one game, and then they just put every ounce of effort in their body into competing to try and win that game as a representative of their country, that's freaking cool, man.
Oh, it's incredible. And, this isn't just about the World Cup. This kind of just basically evolves into all sports. It's just the fact that sports are just it's basically just a great learning experience about life. I mean, there's not many other things in life that prepare you for what you'll face in life like sports. You want to win every game, yes, but you're simply not going to win every game. It doesn't matter how good you are unless you're the 72 Dolphins.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So you'll win every game there, but you're usually not going to win every game, and everyone is still putting in maximum effort, and it's kind of similar to life. You're not going to get every single thing you want. I know you want to become president one day, Jeff.
Of course.
And we're gonna get to that later on in the show. But I mean, let's be honest, the chances of you becoming president are very slim.
Very high. Oh, we were thinking
sorry.
Different pages here, I guess.
Yeah, different pages. But, and if you don't become president, right, as much as as much as you don't want to face that reality, there's nothing I think that could prepare you more for that devastation than losing the intramural final this year.
Oh my God!
Right, and so that's where you can draw the equivalence between sports and life. And I just, this World Cup made me, it's always an eye-opening experience watching high-level athletes leave it all out on the field or the court or that's pretty much it.
It's frustrating to me because you sometimes hear the argument, and it is an argument I made one time to my sister when I was younger, and she shut me right down, and I have since realized that I was wrong. But there are people who think that sports is not really necessary. It's not good for society. Like, it doesn't mean anything to kids. But like you said, it teaches them to be diligent, hardworking. It teaches
teamwork, responsibility,
how to act as part of the machine.
Right, do your job,
and also, like you touched on there, coping mechanisms for when things don't go right. Because
how do you respond at times of adversity?
Yeah, it puts a lot of times you lose, and sometimes you lose on the biggest stage, and you need to be able to handle that like an adult and be responsible and not throw a tantrum out in the middle of the court or the field. You need to just suck it up and say, hey, good game.
And then you go back to the drawing board. You figure out what you did wrong. How do you get better? How do you recover?
Exactly.
And you move on.
And those skills carry over.
And sometimes there's teachers that they hate to talk about sports. They don't like looking at sports as examples in school. And I think that that's just completely wrong. And there's so much that can be taken from sports if used in the right way.
And if you, it's not like it's a new topic either. I mean, if you look at the way, everybody always praises like ancient Greece for their philosophy and their knowledge.
But they had the Olympics,
and they did create the Olympics, and that kind of gets into what we're talking about here. Is the way they used to set up their schools. There was the quad, the idea of the quad, the central area on the campus, with the way most universities are set up. It had 4 main buildings. It had the lecture rooms, it had the dormitories, it had the library, and then the 4th building was the gymnasium. And they always focused on, working on mind and body. And I think the body portion is something that we need to appreciate. And the World Cup was a perfect example of that.
It's important, and there's nothing quite like watching people cry tears of happiness. There really isn't. And sports is one of those few avenues that brings that to you.
Yeah, just seeing the celebrations in the bars around England was just
you gotta love that. You gotta love that.
Well,
and so
obviously that ended early, but mine it carries on. My off the cuff carries on the negative side of attitudes in sports. So I'm not sure if you saw today, but the Raptors traded with the San Antonio Spurs for Kawhi Leonard.
I did see that.
DeMar DeRozan.
Very interesting trade. From both sides, I think.
There's 2 elements here that bother me. One, on the Raptors, I get it. Kawhi is a fantastic... For those who don't know, Kawhi Leonard is one of the best players in the league in the NBA. He didn't play essentially all of last year from a combination of injury and from sitting out because he wasn't happy with the way his bosses and the organization...
Kind of like he basically pulled the Jeff Steiner card where he was getting texts and Snapchats from the Spurs and he just wasn't responding.
Yeah, basically.
He's like, I'll respond tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll respond next week.
He just stopped showing up to work. Yeah. And Toronto Raptors traded for him. They traded DeMar DeRozan, who is their franchise player. I don't know how old he is. What is he, like 27?
No idea.
26? He's in his mid-20s, I think. But he's their franchise player. He's always been with the team. He gives his heart and soul to the team. I mean, he is Toronto. And they traded him
What about Drake? Drake's kind of Toronto.
Don't get me started
Toronto.
on Drake. He drives me nuts. Seeing him clapping on the sideline just drives me bonkers. But anyway, DeMar, franchise player, they trade him away. No loyalty to the guy who devoted himself to the organization. For Kawhi Leonard, a guy who was the franchise player and gave up on his organization. And
he's only going to be there a year.
He's only going to be there a year
because
he wants to go to the Lakers. And the whole Toronto organization is just pestering me right now because they fired Dwayne Casey, who wins Coach of the Year, because he didn't get them to the finals over LeBron. Who's going to get into the finals over LeBron? LeBron's amazing. Like,
no one in the East was getting out. Yeah, no one except LeBron was getting out of the East. That was a tough fire for sure. And this trade, I will say, I think Kawhi Leonard is better than DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any debating that. So I think this genuinely gives the Raptors a chance to get to the NBA Finals this year. And I know it's only for a year, but maybe
the only year
yeah,
they get.
exactly. Maybe this is they see this as their one chance, and they're like, we're gonna go for it. So I kind of get that, but that's gotta suck for DeMar DeRozan to go to San Antonio
it does
now.
suck.
A rebuilding team.
Yeah.
Oh, that's in the West.
And the other point that I was gonna make is I also saw a headline or a rumor, yet I'm supposed yet to be confirmed because it won't be confirmed until the season starts, but that Kawhi is considering sitting out the season with Toronto because he wanted to go to the Lakers. And so on the individual side,
sounds like a baby.
He's a baby. Are you kidding me? You're getting paid millions of dollars a year to play basketball. I play basketball for free because it's fun. And you gotta do it for the love of the game. Just get out, play 1 year, suck it up, and then go to the Lakers next year.
Yeah, that's a
stop
very
being such a baby.
Selfish baby. I don't know what other adjectives you want to throw in there.
It's annoying, man. Grow up.
Yeah, he needs to grow up.
Kawhi.
And so is that your off the cuff?
Yeah.
Is that Kawhi Leonard needs to grow up?
Yeah. It's just the whole
and no loyalty from the Raptors.
Well, that's the thing.
So the Raptors are like the couple that breaks up, and then they've been dating for 2-3 years. And they break up, and in the first week, they're bad-mouthing the hell out of each other.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And they're saying, screw that person, I hate them, I'm never talking to them again.
Yeah.
When, they've been dating for 3 years, so that's pretty much what that's what you're saying, is the Raptors.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a business, and I get that. DeRozan. You try to get the right pieces, but come on, man, treat your employees right. That's in the end, that's what NBA players are. They are employees of their organization. Treat your employees right. Every company should do that, and the NBA is no different.
No, their union needs to fight for him. Their union leaders need to fight for him.
Well, okay. Anyway, I think it's time to move on to the chop move of the week. I'm gonna, if you just let me, I'm just gonna keep ranting because I'm pissed at Kawhi.
Keep going.
He's such a baby. So the chop move of the week. For those who don't know, every single week we review submissions from the fans, and we choose a chop of the week. They submit chop moves. Listen to the previous episodes if you don't know what a chop move is. So just don't forget to message us on Instagram or email us at choppodcast@gmail.com to submit your chop move stories for a chance to win the chop of the week. And we're going to go a little bit different this week, Frankie, because I am going to take the mantle of chop of the week instead of a fan.
Oh, man, what'd you do?
Because I really messed it up. And I made some people mad.
Oh, boy.
So this past Sunday, the World Cup final was on. I think it started at...
Oh.
Yeah, whatever.
I see where this is going.
Yeah. It started at what, 11? It was?
It was 11.
It was 11. And so I was driving. We were all getting together for brunch.
Or no, was it noon?
No, it was 11.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was 11. So we were going to John Bassett's house. If you don't know John Bassett, he came on as a guest of the show in previous episodes. He's a good friend of ours. And John Bassett...
one of the OG chops.
He's one of the OG chops. He was one of our roommates in college. He was hosting a brunch to watch the World Cup. His mom did a great job helping him out. She made some Croatian food, some French food. It was themed. It was really cool.
Some baguettes.
Yeah. And I was bringing 4 people other than myself 2 or 3 people other than myself, 4 people total, but a sizable portion of the group to this World Cup viewing party, and it was a really simple drive. I left with like 35 minutes to go because it was going to take me about half an hour to get there. There 5 minutes before I'm supposed to be there.
God forbid you get there like 20 minutes early.
Well, I'm late to everything. It's kind of my style. So I was going for 5 minutes early, and it was a simple drive. I just had to go up one road and then hop on Route 6. And his house is just a little bit off of Route 6.
Take a right on.
Onto I forget whatever the road name is.
I'm not going to say where he lives.
Yeah, well, we could. But yeah, the chop of the week here, Jeff Steiner, is driving up, and I turn onto Route 66 instead of Route 6.
Oh.
And we're driving, and I'm not seeing the road to turn. And next thing you know, we're way past where we need to be. We were about 25 minutes beyond his house. And, we missed the start of the World Cup final.
So when did you get there in the game? At what point?
I think we were about 10 minutes in.
Okay. So as is becoming pretty normal with these chop move stories, there's a few things going on here. I'm going to say 2 chop moves here. First chop move is clearly you taking the wrong turn.
Yeah.
Okay, that is, maybe if you had your iPhone, the maps on your iPhone.
I went no GPS. I said, I know how to get there. I'll see.
There's actually 3 aspects to this now. That's the first aspect. You didn't use a map, and then you made the wrong turn. Like that is just one colossal. If you're going to use the no maps and you feel confident enough,
where you going?
You can't get it wrong. You simply cannot get it wrong because you'll never hear the end of it from people like me. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is you're driving on a road for 25 minutes and you don't realize that you're on the wrong road. I mean, that is just pitiful.
Well, I did realize at a point, I said, man, shouldn't we have been there by now? I feel like we've just been going in a straight line forever. Where's my turn? And, we were about 5 towns too far.
I want everyone to know that it's not like you were in some random foreign, city or
I live
state.
Right by.
This is 20 minutes in your backyard, and you have no idea where you are. No landmarks ring a bell. This is a classic chop move of the week. It's a great example of what we're looking for the chop moves.
A person who struggles to do normal things normally. You would think that a drive that has 1 turn on it,
which you've made multiple times,
which I've made multiple times, would be simple. I still messed it up. Chop move.
Yeah, it's a chop move, that's really all we can say about that.
Yeah. So again, if you make a chop move, no matter what you think it is, just submit it for next episode, and we will choose from the fan submissions. You can just message us on Instagram.
Yeah, we're getting a lot rolling in.
Yeah, Chop Podcast on Instagram and choppodcast@gmail.com. Send in those submissions, and maybe you'll just get the chance to be mentioned on air. Frankie, I'm gonna ask something of you. I'm gonna ask a task.
Oh, let's hear it.
We've been trying this out, and you seem to be having a good time.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it.
I'm gonna ask you for a food review, and this one I don't know. I actually don't know how you feel about this restaurant. So I'm curious to see where this goes. I don't know if this particular restaurant is in many states. I know it's around here, and I have seen it in a couple other places around New England. But I'm not sure if it crawls down the eastern seaboard or not. So the restaurant of the week that I want you to review is Awrah's Grill.
Oh, Awrah's.
It's a personal favorite of mine, but I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because so we have one of probably about 10, 15 minutes from us.
Yep.
No, probably about 10 minutes from my house.
15 for me.
Right next door to Mohegan Sun. It's a sports bar. So on paper, let's talk about Awrah's. Okay, on paper, Awrah's is fantastic. They have tons of selections, different flavors of wings.
Kind of interesting food choices.
Yeah, but they have every type of food you can imagine that you'd want to snack on while you're watching a game. This is a sports bar. There's hundreds of TVs everywhere. There's large booths with the TV in the booth and the remote. If there's a big game on and you want to go watch with your boys, with your friends, this is the place to go, hands down. You can get burgers. You can get burgers and a donut.
Oh, that's one of my personal favorites.
You can get what's your favorite dessert there? The pizza cookie?
Cookie pizza.
Yeah, the cookie pizza. As I said, there's probably about 30 flavors of wings. There's every type of appetizer you can think of.
They have a wing challenge, one of those hot wings.
They do have a wing challenge. And so on paper, Awrah's is great. Fantastic. It's the place to go. Now, if you want my personal review, which I think you do.
I do, yeah.
I hate it. I really don't like Awrah's. First of all, where do I start? There's a lot of things that really I don't like about Awrah's. First thing we'll start with is the service. Service takes forever. The waitresses, I mean, they're fairly nice. The waiters, they're fairly nice, but it just takes forever. And, sometimes you just want to go in there. You're someone like me, you eat out all the time. Sometimes you don't want to spend an hour and 20 minutes when you go out to eat. Sometimes you want to make it quick, like a 40-minute thing. And you go in there and you order a burger, you order wings. It takes forever. And that's just not something that I love. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I'll share this little personal anecdote. I go in there on Elite 8 weekend this past year. Got a few big-time games, or Sweet 16, actually. It's Friday night, Sweet 16. So there's, 4 games going on at once? No, 2 games. 2 games going on at once. Yeah. And they were pretty big games. So we go in there. I'm all excited. You got the TVs everywhere. Get some wings, watch the games. We go in there, and no offense to D2 women's college basketball players, but almost half of the TVs were the Division II women's basketball championship were on TV. The remaining half of the TVs were NASCAR, the little NHRA drag, whatever it's called, drag racing.
Like the Formula 1.
Yeah, and then you had 2 TVs with the Sweet 16 games. And then, I'm like, this is ridiculous, right? I'm coming in here to watch this. How are not more people complaining that these games aren't on TV? So I go to change the channel in the booth, and the remote doesn't work. And then we get the remote fixed. So then we go to change the channel, and now the CBS channel isn't coming in. I mean, it was just a complete disaster. I would have been better off ordering Domino's and sitting in my house and watching the games, or ordering Philly's Buffalo chicken fries, a little plug there, and watching the games. And so that's the second thing. The third thing is, it's a little pricey.
Yeah, I can see that.
For a sports bar. We talked about 99 last week having great value. 99 is much better in terms of value, service, even the TVs. When there's something big on TV, 99 gets it. They just put it on TV. Not that difficult. The wings are actually, there's this wing flavor called Almost Everything. Very good. It's pretty spicy. Got a little Cajun in it, a little buffalo. That, I will say, is pretty good. But overall, Awrah's, not a fan. Just not a fan of Awrah's. And I wouldn't, it's one of those places you can go once and try it out, and you can make your own judgment. But for me, I'm going to take the pass on Awrah's most of the time.
Okay.
And
right.
To transition into our next segment, we're going to go to Right Kind of Politics, Jeff. And this is coming back after a few weeks off.
Yeah, we avoided this one for a little bit because, there's not always big events in the news. We try to get the big events. Every day is kind of a roller coaster ride with the President of the United States. But this one was a big one.
The great President of the United States. He's our president.
Not my president.
He's our president. And this week we're going to talk about not so much the entire summit at Helsinki where Donald Trump met with President Putin, but more so the aftermath of this summit and what was said. And so just to recap, the intelligence services in the United States, mainly the FBI, also the CIA, did a little investigation to see if Russia had meddled, which is just a great word, isn't it? Isn't that just a great word? Had meddled in the 2016 presidential election, and they found that they did. There was undeniable evidence that they had interfered.
Yeah, quite a few indictments.
Right, indictments and everything in the 2016 presidential election. And so at the summit, Donald Trump is addressing this after he's basically praising Putin for much of the summit. And he says, I don't have any... Should we read the direct quote? I think we should read the... I think we should read the direct quote.
It was pretty atrocious. Keep in mind, it's two podiums up on the stage. There's Donald and Vlad Putin.
And so this is the original quote. I don't see any reason why it would be Russia that interfered in the election. Right after the FBI comes back with this intensive report saying that it was Russia, indictments are made. Clearly it's Russia. Donald Trump says, I don't see any reason why it would be Russia. Comes back the next day, and he says, just kidding, Jeff. Remember when you used to just send those text messages, and then you'd send the JK?
Just kidding.
Yeah, just kidding. And what he meant to say was, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be Russia.
He just flipped his stance, just like that. It was just a misspeak.
It's a very savvy move. It's a move that I love to see out of our president, because it shows that, no one's perfect, and people make mistakes, and you need to own up to your mistakes, and that's really all that matters. And he came out and he said this, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be Russia, which puts faith back into our intelligence services. And so what do you think about this, Jeff?
Well, I think, well, first of all, I'm just going to say right off the bat, he only flipped his stance because he saw the aftermath of people freaking out and calling him treasonous.
Yeah, but those people don't know anything. They don't know anything about the real story.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Putin are on great terms. He knows that Putin would never interfere in this election. Even though he already did with the World Cup, about 8 years ago, back in 2010, in order to get that bid, he would never do anything of this magnitude.
And when he said that he had no reason to believe that it would be Russia. I mean, that only makes sense that he would try to cater to Putin. One, he gave him the presidency, and two, Donald's going to need some new allies now that he attacked every single one of our NATO allies.
Oh, our NATO allies are still in good shape. Don't you worry.
Oh, of course, yeah.
He told us that they were, so I'm not worried.
Him calling Angela Merkel, is it Merkel or Markle? The prime minister of Germany.
I think it's Markle, even though it's spelled like Merkel.
Ah, very confusing pronunciation. Mm-hmm.
I think it's actually Angela.
Angela. Oh, okay.
If
we're going down that road, sure. Head of Germany called her a Russian puppet because they import natural resources from Germany. He's not a puppet.
Well, they were back in the
not
Cold
a puppet.
War, so he's not wrong.
Well, yeah, but come on.
Well, our president's always right.
It's a bit of a stretch, don't you think?
I mean, he's not wrong.
We import $35 billion worth of, whatever the amount is in Chinese goods. Are we a Chinese puppet?
No.
Is there an Asian American version of Donald on the market? Is that the next president candidate?
I'm not sure.
That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, you may. Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, he caters to Putin because he tore up all our other alliances. So hey, why not? Russia looking good.
It's really a smart move. I've never really seen anyone as great of a president as Trump since Reagan, when he kind of opened doors with.
Oh, Reaganomics was fantastic.
Or
right?
just him opening the doors in communication with Russia. It just seems like basically a very important step in our foreign affairs, and I'm just really proud of my president for doing that.
Well, okay. I'm just going to go at this, just a brief talking point here. Your president. The idea of improving relations with Russia is a good one. If you set aside the fact that they rigged our election, which goes against everything that we stand for, just handed Donald the presidency, which is pitiful. I get why.
No, it's wonderful, and I'll tell you why it's wonderful.
Tell me why.
Because Donald, my president, he was fighting back against what the political world had become. He was fighting back against the educated, the people who kind of knew what they were talking about and kind of understood how things worked. And Donald was fighting back against that. And so the fact that Russia stepped in and they allowed him to win, it's making our democracy safe again.
I can't even. You're right. That one, yeah. I don't know what to say, Frankie. You just making points out here. The tenets of democracy, I guess, are intact when even the most uneducated of the populace.
I think it was Thomas Jefferson that once said it would be good if it's always good when a country goes into a revolution, because that means that the people care, they're thinking about what's going on within government, and they're willing to make a change, and that's what happened here. And I see nothing but bright things in the future for our country.
All right. Well, I hope that you're right.
And
on that note,
we'll throw it to break. this break in the action is brought to you by Feel Good Films. Have you ever had a bad day? Maybe you're running late to the office and you get pulled over on the highway. I know you know all about that, Jeff. Or maybe you forget to put on your sunscreen at the beach and have to feel the repercussions for the next 6 days. I know all about that. Well, you know what? Feel Good Films can provide you with a good laugh to get you through your day. Just search Feel Good Films on YouTube with the channel filter to help brighten up your day. And we're back for everyone's favorite segment, Jeffrey Steiner taking us around the world. And so you know what time it is. Jeffrey, spin that globe.
Okay. Globe is spinning. Frankie? Canada.
Canada.
We are going to Canada.
We're going to Canada.
You nicked the southwest edge of Canada. Okay.
Which, we were talking about Toronto earlier, so this is...
It's appropriate.
Yeah, very appropriate. And just a reminder, if you're new to this podcast, make sure to listen to our previous episodes on the podcast channel at choppodcast.podbean.com and follow Chop Podcast, which is one word on Instagram. Again, that's Chop Podcast, one word on Instagram, for everything related to chopping it up. And so, Jeff... We're going to Canada. What are we doing in Canada? We got 3 nights, 4 days.
3 nights, 4 days. Let me just say this real quick. My family has been to Canada, and they went without me.
Oh.
Yeah. I was in Ohio while my family went to Canada.
You hate to see that.
And apparently they had a wonderful time. They went to one of the locations where I think it is a great place to start, especially if you're coming from the United States. And that is Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls.
It's one of the I would say one of the natural wonders of the world. It's one of the biggest waterfalls in the world. Beautiful place. You can take a ride on the Maid of the Mist, which is a little cruise boat that goes at the base of the waterfall, so you can see it right from the bottom. I mean, they're huge. It's amazing. It is pretty amazing that water just coming over the edge of a cliff can be so beautiful.
But it is.
Yeah, take a ride on the Maid of the Mist. They have a butterfly museum also at Niagara Falls. I know this because I've seen many pictures of it and have longed to go.
Missed out on the big butterfly guy?
I've never thought about it, but when I saw the pictures, it's beautiful. You go in, you take a walk through this nature preserve. Butterflies everywhere. It's all flowers. Really nice.
Got the cocoons going.
Probably terrible if you have allergies, but it seems beautiful. So if you're going to start out with Niagara Falls. And, that southeastern portion of Canada is really the place to go because a lot of the major cities, including Toronto, which you already mentioned.
Toronto. If you're going to Canada,
Toronto.
You got to not pronounce the T in Toronto. You know what taught me that? Argo, the movie.
I've never seen Argo.
Oh, great film.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves, right?
Fantastic film. I don't know who's Keanu Reeves. I don't really know.
Oh, stop it.
No, I actually don't. I don't know if he's in it. I know Ben Affleck's in it.
Oh, it's Ben Affleck. Well, I guess that answers the question. It's not Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
Anyway, start off with Niagara Falls the first day, and then you probably see that in the morning. And then I think head over to one of the bigger cities. I know Montreal is supposedly beautiful. It's I think it's known as one of the fashion capitals of the world. That and Paris. No, that's Quebec. We'll get there. So first night.
They speak French in Montreal, don't they?
Oh, they speak French everywhere in Canada, but the epicenter is Quebec.
No, I know that. I think they speak it in Montreal. Okay, continue.
Anyway, sorry for the interruption, folks. We have an unruly podcaster. I guess, they speak French. Yeah. Montreal, nice place to go for the nightlife. Apparently, there's quite a few clubs.
Oh, I've heard that.
Yeah, Montreal, very, very good nightlife. So we're going there first night. We're kicking it off. Normally, we like to relax here at Chopping It Up, but today we're just attacking it.
Yeah, this is going to be an adventurous trip. This trip. Yeah.
So Niagara Falls in the morning, Montreal. We'll get there in the afternoon. We go out at night. Maybe start in the morning there, and then we're gonna go over to Quebec on the second day. It's a beautiful city.
That's definitely wee.
Definitely wee. It's on the St. Lawrence River. We have a friend from Quebec. We went to high school with him. He says it's a beautiful place. If you go in the winter time, they have the the Ice Palace. They build this gigantic ice palace. You can rent a room there and tour it. They carve an entire castle out of ice. It's incredible. And I think sometimes the river freezes over. You can go ice skating on the river. It's a beautiful place. Tons of beautiful bridges, buildings. It's like an old French town. It's amazing. And in the summertime, same deal. Lots of scenic destinations. Visit Quebec. Try some traditional French food. Maybe get some poutine. That's the French fry dish. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, poutine. I think they put gravy on it, right? It's French fries with gravy.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
People go nuts for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never had it. It sounds a little
Anything
gross.
with French fries, I'm down.
Okay.
Big French fry guy.
Get some poutine. So we're seeing Quebec the second day. Whether you're in the summer or winter time, it's a beautiful destination. Third day, I think we go over to Toronto.
Okay.
Toronto, however you want to pronounce it.
Yes.
We see the city. We meet some people. We catch some nightlife that night.
Go to the Six.
Go to the Six. Yeah, that's what it is.
Maybe
go see a Raptors game. You can go see Kawhi Leonard play for the Toronto Raptors.
Or sit on the bench.
Or sit on the bench.
Nice street clothes.
Yeah, clap with Drake. So
CN Tower, right?
I don't know what that is.
I think
Is that what it's called?
The tower in Toronto is the CN Tower, I believe.
I've seen the skyline, but I didn't know that's what it was called. Yeah, the CN Tower. Go see that.
Has one of the clear floors, the clear glass floors.
Oh.
So it looks
That's like really cool.
Yeah, it looks like you're levitating above the Six.
Makes you a little anxious if you're afraid of heights, I guess. But yeah, we're going to go see the major cities in the East for the first 3 days. The fourth day, Frankie, I think you'd be a fool if you didn't go over to British Columbia. Catch a flight. We're taking a flight within the trip. Get over it, people. It's worth it. British Columbia, absolutely beautiful. There's the Rocky Mountain Range, the northern edges of it. There's I forget what the natural park is. Either way, there's a beautiful area of national parks. So go climb some mountains. Maybe if you're going in the wintertime, you went to Quebec, you saw the Ice Palace. Go to the northern edge of the Rocky Mountains in British Columbia and try if you can catch the Northern Lights.
Glacier National Park?
No. That's definitely not what I was thinking of. But hey, you tried, Frankie, and I like that. See, it's already spreading. You're already planning your own trip to.
Yeah, I'm getting excited. I hear you talk about this, and I can't help myself.
Yeah, so go to British Columbia. There's lots of beautiful hiking. Avoid the mountain lions. British Columbia, it's great. Tons of views. Lots of forests you can hike through. I'm sure it's very peaceful to get out into the nature up there and just get away from the world. You probably won't have cell phone service, which I would argue. Unless you're in the event of an emergency, is a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good chance to free your mind.
Helps you get away.
Just see nature and just relax. Yeah, that sounds good.
So enjoy Canada. It has a lot to offer. We're avoiding northern Canada on this trip because it's a little cold. But if you have a nice winter jacket, maybe give it a try.
So just to recap, we're going Niagara Falls, then we're going to Montreal, a little nightlife.
Yep.
Then we're going to Quebec.
Yep.
Then we're going to Toronto.
We're enjoying the sights all over Canada. We're going east to west. It's a nice trip. I think it's a pretty affordable trip too. If I know correctly, I'm pretty sure flights there aren't super expensive. So check it out. Canada, very polite people. They're known for that. Interesting food, French fries and gravy. Just
very nice people.
Go by yourself. This would be a good trip to take by yourself, but again, a lot of people have families that they want to go on trips with, and it's a great family destination as well. Go see Canada. And if you're in the United States, it's a really easy trip. Just get out there and enjoy yourself. And so we've been on a trip around the world. I gave you the agenda. Let's bring it back to the home soil. Hollywood for Dummies. Frankie, let's check out some headlines. So the first headline that I pulled today, and I'm curious how you feel about this one. Kylie Jenner's boyfriend, Travis Scott, doesn't fear the Kardashian curse. So maybe give us an explanation of what the Kardashian curse is, Frankie.
Well, first of all, this is a positive because I know who both of these people are.
Hey, that's a good start.
So that's a good start. And I'm a little confused by this because I don't think Travis Scott, or actually not confused, I agree with Travis Scott. He does not fear the Kardashian curse because he doesn't have to. He doesn't play basketball. When I think of the Kardashian curse, I think of basketball players who are cursed by the Kardashians. It's that simple. We've got Chris Humphries, whoever knows what happened to that guy. He used to be pretty decent.
I saw my first Celtics game I went to. He played for the Celtics, and I saw Chris Humphries play. And, he's a nobody now.
Yeah, he's a nobody.
I have no idea where he is.
Lamar Odom, that sadly we know what happened with him. That whole little...
He got a little into drugs.
Who else? We got...
Tristan Thompson now.
Yeah, Tristan Thompson.
Heavily involved in it.
Obviously. We got Blake Griffin gets traded to the Pistons.
Which maybe...
He has to go live in Detroit instead of L.A.
Probably not a good thing, him and Andre Drummond together. I don't think it's going to work out very well. But
So I'm trying to think of some other Kardashian curses.
They date basketball players.
But so when I think of the curse, I really just think of the basketball players. I mean, Kanye's doing fine. I mean, he's a little bit of a weirdo, but he's doing fine.
Yeah.
He's still making some cool music.
Maybe he had a mental break. That's about it.
Yeah, that's just something small. So yeah, I'm not really worried about this headline. No? I think it's ballsy. I love it. I would actually like to see Travis Scott in concert. So hopefully he doesn't, get cursed by the Kardashians. But if he gets cursed, and he keeps touring well.
If he gets cursed, project what's happening to Travis Scott, where the Kardashians claim another. Does his music career gone, or what's?
I don't. Maybe he starts doing some songs with Flo Rida. He starts touring with Flo Rida.
Yeah, that would be a serious step down, I guess.
Yeah, even though I do like Flo Rida. Little side point, he does produce some bangers, but that would definitely be a step down.
Yeah. Okay, well, this next one, Texas tourist to spend 15 days in jail for collecting conch shells in Florida. I saw this one. This is getting away from Hollywood. I realize this, where we're stepping away from the mean streets of LA and we're heading down to Texas or Florida. What the heck's going on here, Frankie? 15 days in jail for picking up shells on the beach? What could possibly be the crime here?
I have no idea. I can't think of anything. The only thing I can think of is that there were signs on the beach saying, don't pick up the conch shells, right? And this person from Texas, got to be a hero. He's got to be a hero. He's got to show off. He's like, I'm from Texas. I can do what I want.
I want to hear the ocean.
Yeah, and maybe he lives in northern Texas. He's not close to the water.
Yeah.
So he wants to be able to constantly hear the water. So he picks up all these shells, even though it says not to pick up the shells. And he's gonna be, he's gonna become a hero. He's gonna go back to his hometown. He's gonna sell these conch shells, and he doesn't really care. And unfortunately for him, he got caught. And that's what happens when you break the rules.
That's what happens. The other thing I was thinking of that when I saw this, that maybe the possibility is, I know this because I saw the signs when I went to Yellowstone National Park, is some of these national parks, you are not allowed to take like rocks and
because it's an integral part of the park.
Because it's part of the park. It's protected land, and even though everybody does it, let's be honest.
Oh, absolutely.
People take it. I'm not going to say whether or not I did. I don't want to be incriminated by a podcast, but it happens. And so I'm thinking
that was the meeting rock in our dorm last year. That's all I'll say.
There may be obsidian on my shelf. But I'm thinking maybe he was on protected land, like a national park.
Yeah,
I know there's Everglades.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it was probably something protected, some signs that definitely warned him, and he just said, screw it. I'm going to do what I want.
Also, you don't hear the ocean in the conch shells. It's the sound of the blood in your ears that you're hearing echoing back at you. But you believe whatever you want. Yeah. Okay.
He's from Texas. He might think it's the ocean.
He might. Well, we'll take it back to Hollywood now. I just wanted to take a little trip down there and see if we could figure that one out. A little detective work. But this next one, Paris Hilton calls Lindsay Lohan a pathological liar in an Instagram post. How do you feel about it?
I think this is pretty much run-of-the-mill stuff. You got two famous actresses, or no, Paris Hilton is a singer.
She's and an definitely actress. Is she a singer? I mean, she's just the daughter of a hotel manager.
She was also a singer, I'm pretty sure, at some point.
Was she good?
I don't know.
I don't either.
But I think she was a singer. Whatever. You got two females in Hollywood calling each other a pathological liar. I mean, I don't really think this is this is news here. This is pretty much run-of-the-mill stuff as far as I'm concerned.
They're
all crazy.
Well, Lindsay Lohan especially. She went off the deep end.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know if she's still on that trip or if she's come back to reality. But what I was kind of thinking is that these are two Hollywood women who are, in the public eye at least, essentially washed up. They're old news.
Washed up.
And, they try to get a little feud going just to get some media attention. Paris Hilton, nobody's been paying attention to Paris.
Any publicity is good publicity,
that's right.
As my president once said.
And so that's what I'm thinking. Maybe they're just reaching out, just probing the population and trying to get some attention. It's sad.
I mean, like I said, though, you see this in Instagram posts and you're like, okay, what else is new? That's pretty much what I would expect. I feel like people just aren't too honest in Hollywood. It's just the vibe I get.
What would make you think that?
It's just the vibe I get. I don't know. It's really all I
It must
think
be a
about.
heck of a place to live. It's like a totally different world for them out there. They are not grounded in reality. I think in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I mean,
it's wild.
You think they're calling their family members after they do every little thing? So what'd you do today? Oh, well, I went to the grocery store and then I went home. And then I read my magazine, and then I went in the pool. Like, you think they're telling them every little thing they did all day?
Oh, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
And if one of my friends calling me a pathological liar was news, boy, heck, my life is good. I wish that was a problem I had to have.
Yeah, I wish my friends were calling me out on Instagram posts.
And that was the biggest thing going on in your life, the biggest negative.
The biggest negative.
That's Hollywood. But let's get away from Hollywood. I think we've been going on for quite some time. Frankie, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's time. I think it's time to talk about what will happen. We already mentioned this a little bit. When you're president and I'm vice president.
In 2040 something.
Yeah, you have the years all planned out.
I know you do. I'm not sharing the specific year.
Don't act like you don't know the year.
In case it doesn't work out with the party, I just need to make sure that we are seen on the same level.
Yeah, in case like Chelsea Clinton is that same year.
Oh, that would be a tough pill to swallow.
Just trying to become president that year. But so we're gonna move on to we're actually gonna change this to if we were president this week.
Yeah, it's no longer an I. Frankie and I are now on the same side of the ballot.
So I would be on Jeff's staff. I'm fine taking the back seat.
You're the vice president.
That's cool. I don't even need to be. Now I think of it, I don't even need to be the vice president.
Well, I always said you'd be my Secretary of State.
That's fine. I like that better. Get to see some interesting places in the world.
To be honest, no offense to.
Oh, way more important.
The vice presidents out there.
Way more important. And so, what we're going to talk about today is this very controversial and actually serious. This is a bit of a serious topic of immigration and what has been going on lately with immigration. And so, there's two sides to this story of immigration. You have the one side that is basically saying, okay, we're the United States. We don't want people from other countries coming into our country. Okay?
No matter what their situation is.
No matter what their situation is. That's one side. The other side is these people who are living mainly at this time, the large amount of the immigrants are coming from Central America.
Yep.
And so they're living in very, very violence-ridden areas in Central America.
Impoverished conditions.
Mainly Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. And these people are basically walking. They're basically traveling by foot through the entirety of Mexico just to get to our border, just to be able to basically get saved by our country. And I think that this is the other side of it, that should we let in, if we let in 10,000 people, then we need to let in this other 10,000 people that are basically being ravaged by this same type of violence in their hometown. And it is actually a very interesting debate, and I don't think that there's a clear answer.
Yeah, it's a very complex issue, and there's not a simple solution.
And so what Jeff and I were actually talking about during break was our idea of, and sorry, I know this is getting a little confusing to follow. The third argument is that, well, we as a nation, the United States, we could use our funds and try to go into these countries through foreign affairs and help rebuild these countries in a way that the countries would then be suitable for these people to live in, and they would not need to seek asylum in the United States.
So basically, it's a serious socioeconomic problem. There's social issues. There's moral issues of, are we obligated to help these people, or are we obligated to keep our people's priorities in the forefront? And then there's the economic side, where do we maintain our own resources and not fund these people to help them out when they desperately need it, or do we provide foreign aid to just try to make their lives better? It's tough.
It deals a lot with morality and just basically wanting to help, basically just how you feel about humanity in general. And I think we kind of agree. I don't know if you want to elaborate.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about it a little bit, and really, as much as it would be wonderful to just accept everybody, you can't take in an entire population of a country. We can't just absorb.
And that's
countries.
Legitimately what it would be.
Yeah,
I want people to understand that. That's legitimately what it would be.
Most of the civilians would want to come here to improve their status.
Not saying that the United States is perfect, because we're not, but it would be a step up from their current situation.
Right. And so with that in mind, it would be a much better option. So if we were president, our approach to this problem, president and vice president.
And this would be very touchy and obviously very difficult to do and carry out and, enforce over time. Our idea would be to help fund and rebuild these war-torn, violence-torn countries.
Yeah, so basically really focus on foreign aid, because instead of introducing them into our country, if we just go and make the world a better place, then maybe there aren't as many problems. If we go rebuild their infrastructure, if we help improve their education systems, even though ours definitely needs work, we've talked about it in the past, we go and improve their education systems so that they don't get into these violent societies or communities, which then ruin the rest of the community, then maybe that fixes the problem. So invest more into foreign aid, because the world needs it.
And then at this time, you'll get the people who would say, okay, well, why is it our responsibility to do that? Well, you know what, people? It is, because we're one of the most developed countries in the world. We have some of the most money in the world. And it's the responsibility that we get as being this country that is, more developed than other countries. It's the responsibility that we kind of...
It comes down to what you were saying earlier during the break. It's all about empathy, man. Just give a crap about people.
Yeah, it's just you just got to care a tiny bit, not a whole lot, just a tiny bit. Care a little bit for me, and that's what would be our idea if we were president.
Yeah, if we were president, make the world a better place. I think a lot of people would love to do that.
And now that we made the podcast very serious and ended it on a very serious note, that's all we have for this week's episode.
Yeah, we hope we gave you some things to chew on, some things to think about, and maybe entertained you just a little bit.
Just a tiny bit.
That's our goal. We want to keep you guys involved. So thanks again. You've been listening to Chopping It Up.
See everyone next week.